You've got an idea. We all do, right? Maybe it's just this little nagging problem you wish someone would solve, or maybe it's one of those big, wild what if questions that keeps you up at night. But here's the real question. How do you get that spark from your head into the real world where it can actually make a difference? Well, that's exactly the playbook we're going to decode today.
I mean, think about it. You've had that light bulb moment, that flash of genius. We all have. So what's the real distance between that spark and, the next big thing that changes everything? That journey from just an idea to real-world impact is exactly what we're mapping out right now.
Okay, so first things first, we have to get our terms straight. We use words like creativity, invention, and innovation pretty much interchangeably, but they're not the same thing at all. Not even close. In fact, they are three totally distinct, totally crucial stages on the path to making an impact. So everything starts right here, in your mind, with creativity. This is the raw, untamed spark. It's that moment of pure imagination before anything physical even exists. It's just thinking differently, seeing a connection nobody else has seen before. Then, if you're lucky, that creative spark becomes an invention. This is where the idea gets real. It takes physical form for the very first time. Think about the first prototype of something. It exists, it might even work, but it's probably clunky, super expensive, and definitely not ready for the world, yet. And that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important piece of the puzzle, innovation. This is the game changer. Innovation is what makes an invention actually matter to people. It's the process of taking that clunky prototype, refining it, making it accessible, and turning it into something that solves a real problem for lots of people. Without that, it's just a cool gadget in a lab, not a true innovation. You know what? Let's make this super simple. Think about the toothbrush. The creative idea is just, hey, my teeth need to be clean. An early invention might have been someone using a frayed stick. But the innovation, that was the mass-produced nylon bristle toothbrush, a cheap, scalable product that solved a universal need. And the electric toothbrush, well, that's just the cycle starting all over again. More innovation on top of innovation. Okay, so you have a creative idea. Maybe you've even tinkered with an early invention. Now what? Well, it's not magic. There's actually a structured process that can take that idea from a thought to a finished product. Let's break down that journey. Right. So successful companies don't just sit around and wait for a light bulb to go off. They build a pipeline. It all starts with generating a ton of ideas. But then comes the really important part, screening them, where you have to advocate for the best ones and filter out the rest. After that, you experiment. You build it, you test it, you see if it actually works. If it survives that, it moves to commercialization, finding a market for it. And finally, diffusion and implementation. That's when you roll it out for everyone. Now, having a process is one thing, but you also need a strategy. See, not all innovation is created equal. It turns out companies usually pick one of four very different ways to innovate. First up, we've got incremental innovation. This is by far the most common type. It's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about making the wheel a little bit better, a little bit faster, a little bit more efficient year after year. Think about your phone. Each new model isn't some huge revolution, right? It just has a slightly better camera, a faster processor. That's incremental innovation. It's steady, low-risk progress. Then, you have the one that changes the whole game, disruptive innovation. You could almost call this stealth innovation. It usually starts out looking like a toy. It's a little clunky. Maybe it only serves a tiny niche market that the big companies don't care about. But it gets better and better and better fast. And by the time the big players realize it's a threat, it's already too late. I mean, remember when the big phone execs laughed at the first iPhone because it didn't have a keyboard? Yeah, that's disruption. Architectural innovation is a really clever move. This is when a company takes something it's already amazing at, its tech, its skills, and just points it at a totally new market. Amazon was the king of logistics and delivery, so for them to take that expertise and apply it to delivering groceries, well, it opened up a whole new world for them, without having to start from scratch. And finally, there's the rarest, most powerful type of all, radical innovation. This isn't about just improving a market, it's about creating a market that never existed before. Think about it. Before the airplane, there was no airline industry, no airports, no pilots, none of it. This is the kind of innovation that doesn't just change a product, it completely reshapes society itself. So, we've talked about how individual companies innovate. For what happens when an entire country decides to build its national strategy around this stuff? For that, we're going to take a look at India's playbook over the last decade or so. It's a really fascinating case study.
So, starting around 2014, India made a really deliberate strategic shift. It launched this whole series of massive coordinated programs. And these weren't just separate policies, they were designed to be interlocking pieces of a much bigger machine, all built to create a national innovation ecosystem from the ground up.
And at the heart of this strategy, you've got two really distinct but complementary ideas. Make in India is all about inviting the big global companies to come set up shop, build factories, and create jobs. But Made in India, that's about empowering homegrown entrepreneurs to build for India and for the world, keeping that talent and those profits inside the country. It's a really powerful one-two punch for growth.
And these other initiatives were the building blocks for the whole thing. Digital India created the tech backbone. Skill India focused on the people, building a modern workforce. And Startup India cleared the way for new companies, cutting red tape and making it easier to get funding. When you put them all together, you create this incredibly fertile ground for new ideas to grow. Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from a single thought bouncing around in your head all the way to a massive national economic strategy. So let's bring it all home and really nail down the big takeaways from this journey.
So here's the bottom line. Innovation is not an accident, it's a discipline. It all starts with that creative spark, becomes real with an invention, and then, finally, creates real value as an innovation. Successful companies manage this with a structured process and a clear strategy, whether they're just making small improvements or creating brand new industries. And, as we saw with India, that same playbook can be scaled up to change the economic destiny of an entire nation.
And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day, innovation isn't just about cool tech or making money. It's about solving human problems. So as we wrap up, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What problem out there is waiting for your idea?